Creating Fairies. When I was at boarding school, and I was asked to write an imaginative piece, very rarely did I come up with a title like Creating Fairies. But I'm older now and more relaxed in my own skin, and I'm at much less risk of being flushed. All right. But, look, what I've actually been thinking about is that I've been a little unkind on public discourse lately, social media and all that sort of stuff. You know, people put things online, and this includes me, for all sorts of reasons. Now, I don't put anything online in the social media sphere, but I do use this thing, YouTube, put clips up on that, and people put things up on social media and so on, YouTube, whatever, for all sorts of reasons, and it's a little unkind of someone like me to be always focusing on those people who are trying to, shove their ideas into other people's heads, telling other people what to think and what to feel, and using social media to get outraged and all those sorts of things. Now, I mean, all the people on the left and the right, people who are using public discourse and all that sort of stuff for political reasons. Excuse the helicopter. I live right near an airport. We'll wait. People, for example, use it for social reasons. Oh, when I said political reasons, I mean, national political sort of debate, stuff about what the government's doing, but also the politics, local politics, but also the politics between people. Mothers trying to make other mothers look bad, by putting fake posts up that suggest that they're Mother of the Year, all of them, each of them, and all that sort of stuff, all that politics. There's a lot of politics that goes on within communities too, between people. So obviously a lot of people on social media use social media for that, but people are using it for other things too, and this is where I'm a little bit unfair when I say, social media is a dog and it's ruined us all. It hasn't. Although, it has. It hasn't. It has. It hasn't. It has. I really don't care. I was listening to Paul Keating's acceptance speech. This has been the sweetest victory of all. 1993, and I was thinking, wow. And this was before social media, and he wrote, and he said, I know who his speechwriter is. I've got a couple of his books, but anyway, Don Watson. Anyway, and he was saying, never again. This is in 1993. He didn't know social media was coming. Never again will anyone dare try to divide Australians again, because he was accusing John Hewson of having done that. Look, he was politicking himself. That's not the point. Another helicopter. Anyway, so we will plough on. And he said, never again, because Australians are decent people and they stick together. Obviously, we have our differences and all that sort of stuff, but by and large, we're all on the same team. He sounded like a bit of a Jacinda Ardern, but it was a wonderful speech. It was a speech that couldn't be made today in the social media era, I feel. Listen to it, by all means, if you feel like it. It's a speech that couldn't be made in the modern era. There was hope in it, and there was, we may have been misguided, we may have been naive, but there was a real sense that we're all, by and large, sticking together, and we're all on the same team and all that sort of stuff. It may not have been true, but the point is we thought it was true, and that's important. When social media came along, our naivety, we lost it. And we found out that people hate each other's guts, and they're willing to say it in the public discourse. And not only that, I don't want to talk about this, by the way. I want to talk about creating fairies by the end of this episode, but we'll get there. But what happens, I think, is, look, we've always, we had our Lindy Chamberlain moment and all that sort of stuff. That felt very, we've had our times before social media. We had these huge, divisive moments in our history and all that sort of stuff, but I'm not sure that we saw so much hatred between Australians, so much, and if there was, look, what happens now is because everybody gets to get on to the public domain, and a lot of those people start arguing with each other. Because they're able to express their hatred, that breeds the hatred. It makes the hatred stronger, I think. So I think social media creates hatred. But I don't want to talk about that. That's only one small portion of public discourse. And I want to get away from that because that's the habit I've gotten myself into, talking about that all the time. Now, what I want to talk about today is people get onto social media for other reasons. We had snow in Sunbury yesterday, and images were filtering through to me because my wife sends them to me. She sees them on social media and then texts me those, and it was lovely. Lovely, all my family members, my brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews, all playing in the snow, making snowmen and all that sort of stuff. It's fantastic. I miss all that stuff. I wish I was on social media for that stuff, but I can't go on social media because I see the other stuff. And I really have, over many years, got myself into a lovely sort of state of mind, peace of mind and all that sort of stuff, zen and all that sort of thing. And, to see, if you see too much dross, it kind of pollutes your mind. Now, this is a theory I developed when I was a teenager. My brothers and sisters know that. I've never watched violent movies, and horror movies, I know that I could cope with them and all that sort of stuff, but I don't want that in my head. And the same goes for social media. I don't want all that in my head, But you do miss the good stuff as well. I call them diamonds that can be found in the cesspit. But now, here's the thing. A lot of people put stuff in the public domain for lovely reasons. Lovely reasons, I listened to most of a chemistry course from Massachusetts Institute of Technology a while ago. Loved it. The guy on there, he didn't have any politics or anything like that, not much anyway. He's a bit into the environment and everything. It's good to have our scientists into that. But I was thinking, wow, this guy, and I've listened to other podcasters too. I like podcasts, because you can pick and choose. You don't have to see the dross, But that guy was there because he wanted to make the world a better place by putting his chemistry lectures in the public domain. And I was listening to him and I'm going, oh my God. You get people like rappers and things, he's saying, I am a genius, I am this, I am that. And then I listened to this guy who's an absolute genius at chemistry and everything else too. He was bringing in poetry and, he's one of those great teachers, He was bringing in Greek mythology and all that sort of stuff and weaving all that in. Massachusetts, MIT. And he was bringing in examples from all sorts of, all walks of life. So he wasn't just a chemistry teacher. He knew to be a great teacher, you need to be across everything. I'm sure he could bring in examples from rap. to illustrate some point about chemistry. But the point is, these are the geniuses, you know, and these political geniuses you hear who are really good at human relationships and politics. You know, they think they do seem to be in their own what do they call it? Echo chamber, where they think if you're good at that, you're an out and out genius. You know, but then you listen to this other guy, this applied chemist, speaking, and it's nothing like just dry chemistry. It was amazing. You know, it was almost like watching the mind of God in action, hearing him speaking about chemistry. You know, it was wonderful, just the way, yeah. And he was weaving all that stuff in as well. You know, Greek mythology and all that sort of stuff to illustrate the way that nature works. Wonderful stuff. Now, there's an example of, you know, public discourse, or, you know, stuff on the public domain being wonderful. You know, that's one of the diamonds in the cesspit. You can concentrate on podcasts and you pretty much get diamonds only. You know. So that's an example of something that's not political. You know, I really get sick of all the political stuff, you know, Donald Trump and all that sort of stuff. I was listening to two people recently, one who loves Donald Trump and one who hates him. You know, actually a couple of people who love him. I've got one bloke I know who wants to take him to bed, I'm sure of it. You know, and you know, and then I know of other people who hate his guts and want to put strychnine in his tea. Yeah, so you know, and then so that was the previous episode. I wrote a song, you know, about what those guys were saying. You know, I have no real great interest in Trump myself, but you know, I hear these other people talking, and you know, I create a little fairy, you know, which is what this episode's about. You know, where I just put up something that's got nothing to do with myself and my thoughts at all, and you know, and that was the previous episode, a song about something I'm just not interested in. But anyway, so we'll get to me in a minute at the end, because this YouTube clip channel is not about me and my thoughts. Very rarely do I put my thoughts up here. On this occasion I have. You know? Okay, so there's all these angles. There's people, so I've been through about 3 angles already. There's people who use social media and all that sort of stuff for politics, and to tell each other people what they think of them, and you know, and that ends up hatred most of the time, as far as I can tell. It's not constructive. You know, the way social media as a platform does not allow for well-considered critical thinking and, you know, well thought out dialectic. You know, the platform is designed so that you say your piece, bang, you know, very short, sharp, with no nuance, and then someone reacts to that. You know, so there's that. There's politics. Then there's people who use it for genuinely lovely social reasons. All my family playing in the snow yesterday, absolutely wonderful. And you know what was good about that too? It wasn't selfie in nature. No one was posing, because it was such a rare thing. We haven't had snow for 30 years up there in Sunbury. I was there last time, 38 years. I was there last time there was snow in Sunbury, and it's almost like Christmas, and people stop doing all the selfies, and they don't mind, you know, and they're laughing and all that sort of stuff, and you know, it's not this, you know, showing your cleavage kind of selfie type thing, you know, and I do agree, I often do that, so you know, I'm to blame, but. Anyway, so there's lovely reasons, social reasons. Then there's other reasons where people are purely in it to educate others. And I've got a dialectic partner who enjoys doing that. And she makes podcasts which are really like that. She's like that applied chemist, except in a political way. So you can do politics in a nice way. And I've got a dialectic partner, my goddaughter, who is able to do that. She makes, but she's not doing it on social media, you see, or not where I can see it anyway. I don't know what the tone of her voice is on social media, but I've got her podcasts, and those are just her musing to herself about politics, and those are lovely. She's not trying to ram, you know, not trying to react to anyone. She's just saying what she thinks. You know, she speaks about Ethiopia a lot, you know, and what might be best for Ethiopia in the future and all that sort of stuff. You know, lovely. You know, and it's not an easy topic, not an easy topic at all. You know, it's one of those countries that, you know, year after year, decade after decade, century after century, millennium after millennium seems to be in strife, you know. But still, you know, she chats about that, but not in that abusive way that people have, where it's personal. Okay, so there's another thing. So you've got, what have I got so far? You know, I'm taking a long time to do this. I don't care. Donald Trump does that, you know. Apparently his method of speaking is not unlike mine. In a sense, he's more entertaining, I think. But it's kind of rambling, but there's good stuff in there, apparently. Yeah, but who's got the time? You know, you end up just getting Donald Trump quoted on bits and pieces of what he's saying in his long rambling speeches, and then he yells fake news because it's the rambling brings nuance into what you're saying. There's a lot of nuance in what I'm saying here. This is like a Donald Trump speech sort of thing. There's a lot of nuance to what I'm getting across here. This is not possible on social media, what I'm doing here. But the problem with an episode like mine, I get no views, and I'm happy with that. And, you know, that's my aim, really. I'll talk about fairies in a minute. But Donald Trump's the same. It's only his true believers that are going to sit through, surely, or his true haters who are going to sit through one of his speeches. But what happens is you have a reporter along to one of his speeches, and what can they do? Can they do a 12-page spread in the New York Times, capturing all the nuance in what he's saying, all the trickiness in his language and all that sort of stuff, and how he says one thing and then he says the opposite thing in the same sentence and all that sort of stuff? There's nuance in that, and there's validity in that, believe it or not. But, you know, on one level he's an entertaining communicator, and he does get through to his own support base, but he's not an effective communicator like an Australian politician, where you can listen to those guys and it's not convoluted or anything. You know, it's really clear. You know exactly what they're saying. The only time our politicians get convoluted and all that sort of stuff is when a journalist asks a low-blow, dirty trick question. You know, can you guarantee there'll be no deaths from coronavirus? Can you, Prime Minister? What a stupid question. Now, if he says, no, I can't, they've got their headline. So what he has to do is be convoluted in his response and not give a yes or no answer. You know, of course he should be convoluted. But if you haven't got troublemaking journalists in play, then, you know, our politicians are really effective communicators. Donald Trump isn't, and I'm not. You know, you need to have an hour spare to even slightly work out what I'm trying to say or what Donald Trump is trying to say. You need to have an hour spare.